Live from Innovation Park on the campus of Penn State University, this is PSN News. It's Tuesday, October 27th. Tonight, we'll tell you all you need to know about the $2 million grant Penn State Health received, as well as the fourth consecutive return of ESPN's College Game Day at Penn State.
We also have more on Amy Coney Barrett's confirmation into the Supreme Court, as well as your sports, entertainment, and weather. Stay tuned.
Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Claire Vocke.
And I'm Madison Miller.
The total number of confirmed coronavirus cases in Centre County has been reported to be more than 3,800. The Department of Health announced that 16 people have died from the virus in Centre County, and 15 people are currently hospitalized. There are over 192,000 reported cases statewide as of Saturday.
Penn State University will be offering voluntary COVID-19 testing with its fall semester departure plans. The university is requiring all students to move out of their on-campus housing by November 22nd. Students are being encouraged to get voluntarily tested before returning home in the hopes of limiting the further spread of the coronavirus. Starting on November 6th, students will be able to book their testing appointments through the university. Students interested in being tested before returning home should sign up for a time slot 3 days before their expected departure date. Starting on November 21st, the university's random surveillance and walk-up testing will be paused unless an appointment is made.
Penn State's League of Women Voters chapter created a student voter guide that is a one-stop shop that helps and informs students on how and where to vote on November 3rd. PSN News field reporter Riley Curry has the story.
I'm Riley Curry reporting live from the Bryce Jordan Center, which is currently being used as a polling site for the 2020 election. Local residents are dropping off their ballots now.
Many students and local state college residents are making the decision to vote early. Jan Koch, the co-officer of the League of Women Voters of Centre County, explains why she believes voting is so important.
Every election is important. If you have the opportunity to vote, you should do so. It is a hard-earned right that we have. When my mother was born, women did not have the right to vote. And so it is new to a lot of us. And when I say 100 years, that's new in our nation's history. The people did not have the right to vote before then. And we can't ignore that right in this time. We have to exercise it because it is important. Every election counts.
LWV is a bipartisan organization that provides a multitude of resources that aim to educate the public on voting. The local Centre County chapter even hosts a candidate night twice a year.
We are also very actively working with the university. We had some students interested in forming a local chapter at Penn State. And so now we have a League of Women Voters chapter that's a student chapter at Penn State. They even put up their own voting guide, and we're working with them. They're officially part of our league, but they're also their own entity. And we're really proud of them.
At age 16, both men and women can join LWV, and as of right now, all students can join for free.
For PSN News, I'm Riley Curry.
Penn State and Penn State Health will receive a $2 million grant from the PNC Foundation. This grant will help support programs and events like Startup Week and Four Diamonds Mini-thon. The grant will also help fund the Penn State Pro Wellness Program, as well as support the PNC Community Health Impact Endowment.
ESPN's College Game Day will return to Happy Valley for the fourth consecutive year on October 31st. Penn State is the only school to host Game Day each of the last 4 years. The pregame college football program will air live from 9 a.m. to noon on Saturday. Fans will not be permitted at the event due to COVID-19 restrictions, but are still encouraged to show their support virtually. Kickoff for the game versus Ohio State is at 7:30 p.m. on ABC.
Stay tuned because after your local weather, Samantha Menuza will bring you the latest in entertainment.
From the students of Penn State Meteorology, here is your Penn State Campus Weather Service forecast.
Good evening. I'm Dana Osgood from the Penn State Campus Weather Service, and here's your PSN News evening forecast. I pulled up some weather headlines so we can kind of have an overview of how next week is going to look. So we do have a rainy start to the week. Monday, yesterday was pretty rainy as it was today. And unfortunately, that rain will continue into trick-or-treating. State College trick-or-treating is actually Thursday the 29th this year, as because of Penn State and Ohio State playing football on Halloween, we wanted to have plenty of time for people to do both. So unfortunately, if you're going to bring your kids out for trick-or-treating, I would recommend bringing an umbrella this year. Luckily, a high-pressure system will move into our area after the rain, so we won't have to deal with it forever. If we look at our drought tracker, I always think it's really important to kind of take a look at how we're doing. Philadelphia and Allentown are the only area that is not in a drought currently. If we look at our area, State College, and just north of us is actually the kind of orange color, which is directly in between abnormally dry and exceptional. So the lack of precipitation that we've had over the past couple of months has led to a bit of a drought throughout most of the state. So luckily the rain that we're having now and a wetter winter than our fall will kind of help get away from the drought, because it's not good for the agriculture and for the plants either. So if we take a look at our radar, we have kind of the rain moving out of the way on Tuesday, bringing with it some clouds for Wednesday. However, the big system, that's if you look, is over Cincinnati as of Thursday at 7 a.m., is going to move into our area just in time for trick-or-treating. So that's why you would likely need an umbrella and some rain boots. If you see the orange, that means it's pretty heavy rain over Harrisburg and around that area. For the day on Friday, the rain does begin to move out of our area. If you look at the blue, that's actually snow, and the pink color is like a mix between rain and snow. Whether or not you're going to get snow depends on the temperature of your area when the system moves through. So for New York, it might be cold enough to get some snow up in the mountains. However, this early in the season for Pennsylvania, it's likely too warm for the water droplets to actually freeze. So unfortunately, instead of some really nice cool snow, we'll end up with just more rain, at least this early in the season. So that moves out of our area on Friday, just in time for a nice sunny game day between Penn State and Ohio State. We do have a band of rain that moves through our area early on Monday, but once that comes out of the way, it's going to be really nice and sunny for the beginning of next week. You can see that there is some clouds, but not as much as we've been dealing with this week. For tonight, around 41 degrees with a chance of rain, as it has been for most of the day. For tomorrow, a high around 58 degrees with a lot of thick clouds as well. Pretty standard Happy Valley cloudy day, unfortunately. As we move into the 7-day forecast, we have that rain that I mentioned coming in for trick-or-treating on Thursday, which does remain through a bunch of Friday. Nice and sunny for Halloween and for game day. And on Sunday, daylight saving time ends. So we actually will get an extra hour of sleep, which is really nice to take advantage of after the game. And once that band of rain goes through on Monday, we have some sunnier skies on Tuesday. For Penn State News, I'm Dana Osgood. Have a wonderful evening.
Welcome back to PSN News. I'm Samantha Manuzzo with your entertainment update. Gather round, all you witches, monsters, and Carol Baskins. From 5 to 7 p.m. tomorrow, October 28th, students are invited to wear their Halloween costumes and bring their spooky selves to the Arboretum for a night of games and treats. This week's Late Night in the Center caps off Penn State's celebration of LGBTQ History Month, following a series of events organized by the Center for Sexual and Gender Diversity. Activities for child's play at the Arboretum will include tag, hide and seek, and red light, green light. Check the university's website for location updates depending on the area's availability. The Hub Robinson Gallery has finally opened for an in-person art viewing. One of the featured exhibits, Care Not Convenience, is now open until November 20th. PSN News field reporter Izzy Hayes had the chance to visit the gallery and give us an inside look on the meaning behind it all.
Hi, my name is Izzy Hayes reporting for PSN News, and today we're here at the Arboretum Center, where new art exhibits have just opened up at the Hub Gallery.
Hi, I'm Danny Spivak with the Arboretum Galleries, and we bring contemporary art to the Hub and Penn State's University Park campus. Right now I'm in Hub Gallery, which is on the first floor of the Arboretum Center, and the exhibition is Care Not Convenience by Jaewon Lee and Kelly Schlo MacArthur. This exhibition is completely created from recycled plastics and asks you to reflect on your plastic use and what it's doing to the environment.
The exhibits are located inside the art gallery and in various places throughout the first floor of the Hub. As some are not fully finished yet, they are still on display and available for viewing.
In the cases throughout the Arboretum Center, we have human expectations to and border exchange. These 3 exhibitions include ceramic works, glass works, resin works, and abstract paintings. In all of these works, the artists are looking at identity and really the limitations and possibilities of themselves as humans.
The Hub Gallery is open from 10 to 6 daily, and admission is free. Virtual exhibitions and tours will also be available shortly. Once again, for PSN News, I'm Izzy Hayes.
For those of you who might feel more comfortable staying in, cuddled up in front of a nice boiling cauldron, gather some sweets and tune in via Zoom on Thursday, October 29th to Art After Hours, Halloween at Home, the Museum House of Horrors. The Palmer Art Museum will host the annual event remotely this year to ensure the safety of their ghoulish guests. Activities will begin at 6 p.m. The night will include insight and discussion into any creepy and strange objects featured among the museum's collection and storage facilities. Beginning at 7 p.m., show off your costume for a chance to win a mysterious prize and participate in Halloween-themed art games. If only to release some joy into the world this year, Harry Styles dropped the music video for his latest single, Golden, on Monday. Directed by Ben and Gabe Turner, the video features Styles in 5 different outfits throughout Italy's Amalfi Coast. Shot in Europe amid the coronavirus pandemic, the 26-year-old singer can be seen running, swimming, and dancing throughout Amalfi. The song is the 5th single released from the singer's 2nd studio album, Fine Line, which debuted in December 2019. Styles was one of many artists who was forced to cancel their 2020 tour dates to prevent the spread of the virus. He said earlier in quarantine that he was using the extra free time to learn Italian before shooting the music video in Italy. That was your entertainment update. Stay tuned because after the break, Carlos Garcia will bring you the latest from the world of sports.
Welcome back to PSN News. I'm Carlos Garcia with your sports update. After many decisions and a month of confusion on whether or not the Nittany Lions would take the field this season, Penn State football now sits at 0-1 after Indiana pulled off the 36-35 upset in Bloomington. After a rocky start in the first half, the offense picked it up in the second half, led by quarterback Sean Clifford, who had 238 yards and 3 touchdowns. After a back-and-forth game, Indiana quarterback Michael Penix Jr. scored a touchdown with 22 seconds left to send the game to overtime. Wide receiver Parker Washington caught a 9-yard touchdown to give the Nittany Lions the lead in OT. However, a gutsy 2-point conversion by the Hoosiers following their touchdown put the Nittany Lions away. With that being said, some Penn State fans weren't too pleased with the way the game ended, after the official review showed that Penix may have been just shy of crossing the goal line on the 2-point conversion. Nevertheless, Penn State will look to move on from the tough loss as they face an opponent in number 3 ranked Ohio State on Halloween at Beaver Stadium. Penn State football kicked off last week with a devastating loss to the Indiana Hoosiers. Before the game, PSN News field reporter Jack Flanagan had the chance to talk to some Penn State football fans about the anticipated game and their opinion on the return of Penn State football.
After weeks of waiting, the Big Ten football season is finally underway. Penn State opened their schedule at Indiana this Saturday, and students at Penn State couldn't have been more excited to see their team take the field.
Right. Honestly, I'm devastated. Going to college football games has been a big passion of mine ever since I was a little kid. It's something I really look forward to every year. I respect it. Of course, it's a bummer, but I know it's in the best of public interest.
Yeah. All right, thanks so much. Really appreciate it.
I'd expect them to do well. You know, I just think we have a great team, and it's their year to start.
Do you think they have any chance at winning the Big Ten, possibly beating Ohio State and moving on?
I think so, yeah.
Students at Penn State have big expectations for their team this year after an 11-12 record in 2019.
A lot of key players are coming back, so I think the expectation is winless.
Yeah.
I mean, undefeated.
Meanwhile, students say their plans for watching Penn State play in away games won't change because of COVID-19. It's no surprise that students on campus are disappointed that they won't be able to attend games at Beaver Stadium this year.
For PSN News, I'm Jack Flanagan.
It is with deep hearts that we announce the death of former Penn State legend Jesse Arnell. Arnell was a former two-sport All-American in basketball and football, where he holds the program basketball record for all-time rebounds and held the scoring record for 56 years. Arnell played 3 seasons on the gridiron, where he holds the single-season reception record and got drafted by the Los Angeles Rams in 1955. Arnell's name still stands by 6 career records, 6 season records, and 3 game records at Penn State. The 2021 Tokyo Olympics officials are starting to spread the word on their COVID-19 protocols, despite not having any yet. Officials want the world to know they are working on measures to combat the pandemic at next year's games, even if they don't know exactly what they will be. Tokyo organizers displayed a few possible options on Wednesday, showcasing various screening measures at the city's Big Site Convention Complex, home of the media center for the Olympics. Executive Director of the Tokyo Olympic Security Bureau, Tsuyoshi Iwashida, said, quote, "Our objective is to demonstrate what we are going toward, the safety and security of the Olympics," end quote. Athletes around the globe have come down with the virus despite precaution. 10 members of the Italian swim team reported positive on Tuesday, including world champions Simona Quadarella and Gabriele Detti. The opening ceremony for the Games is set to take place on July 23, 2021, where 11,000 athletes and thousands of officials, judges, volunteers, sponsors, and media will also be present. That was your sports update. This week, PSN News interviewer anchor Meredith Leah will give you an exclusive interview with the Greg Drain, the director of the Blue Band, to discuss how they are staying involved despite not playing at games this season. Take a look.
Penn State this year's football season has been anything but conventional. But despite the challenges presented by COVID-19, the beloved marching Blue Band continues to raise the song and bring joy to Penn State fans everywhere. Here with me today is the director of the Blue Band, Dr. Gregory Drain, to talk about some of the challenges the band has overcome in order to continue rehearsals and performances this year. Dr. Drain, thank you so much for joining us. It's so lovely to have you here today.
Thank you so much for having me.
First, I just want to talk a little bit about the band itself. Coming into this year's season, what would you say was the biggest challenge you anticipated for you as director?
The biggest challenge for me was just the unknown. You know, there was so much going on over the summer, not being sure how the university was going to handle things, not being sure how, you know, the NCAA and the Big Ten as a conference was going to handle things. And so therefore, we just had so many unknowns, and trying to find a way and trying to find a path forward, you know, was difficult. So that was a huge challenge, just trying to figure out what is it that we're going to be able to do. You know, thinking back to March, trying to prepare for an August. So that within itself was extremely challenging, because usually by early summer, we know exactly what we're going to be doing on a daily basis and on a weekly basis. So not really having any clear path until almost, you know, a couple weeks before the start of school.
It appears the band has made many accommodations to practice safe social distancing during rehearsal times. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, you know, the staff and I, you know, all throughout the summer, you know, we finally came down to the fact that, hey, we don't know what's going to happen with football, but we did know the information, hey, we were going to have class. So we were able to basically wipe the slate clean and start over. How are we going to have rehearsal on a daily basis under the conditions that we had, you know? So we really learned as much as we could with the research that was going on, learning about aerosols and aerosol emissions through instruments and things like that. And then also just the general guidelines that was being given out by the CDC on how we should be socially distancing between one another. So we kind of just basically started with what we had, which was very little information, and just really rebuilt everything from scratch. How are we going to get instruments? How are we going to collect instruments? Then how are we going to rehearse? Then, you know, how are we going to bring, you know, all of these students together, and then maintaining that social distancing. So that's kind of where we started from. But again, that social distancing and also having on masks, you know, that was the first thing that we had to be able to accomplish and figure out things logistically, figure out the right paths to make it as seamless as possible, although knowing that it was going to be totally new for everyone.
And now that we've talked about practice, we should move over to performances for a while. The band is a key part of football games and their overall atmosphere. But since attendance in the stadium is limited this year, how is the band staying involved?
Yeah, so for us, we've been trying to stay involved as much as we can through a part of. Let me back up for a second. A part of our goal has always been to be a positive influence on the university culture, with consideration that we can't necessarily do that in person. We have been producing a lot more material on social media to try to keep our fans, Penn State fans, engaged with Penn State. And hey, here's what we're doing, still in support of football, and that has been beneficial for everybody, for all of us to see our fans engaging with us on social media, and also for them to still be able to hear us and see us through social media. So we've been focusing a lot on that. But then most recently, we were able to do some film recording in Beaver Stadium in preparation for the upcoming games for football. So we recorded some of our traditional things that we do in the stands, so that at minimum the players and the fans that will be able to be there can still hear the sounds of the blue at the game. So that's one of the ways that we've been able to do a few things.
And last month, the band worked in conjunction with the athletics program to host a virtual performance that reached hundreds of thousands of viewers. Can you tell us about what that experience was like?
Oh man, that was quite the experience. And it took a lot longer to put together than I originally anticipated. However, the biggest challenge was getting a Ethernet cable hookup to our practice field from our building. So we literally had to purchase 1,000-foot Ethernet cable in order for us to be able to pull that one off. But again, because we have this great relationship with our athletic department, and also Penn State football was involved in this. When they heard we were doing this, they were like, we want this sent out from the football social media. So we kind of had to negotiate and haggle a little bit how that would happen. So as a result, it turned out we did a pre-show through the band's social media, and then the actual show we pushed through Penn State athletics accounts, and also Penn State football, as again, we have such a strong relationship with football, and they wanted to show their support for us, as we're regularly showing our support for them. So that was quite the experience for everyone, and I think that was kind of an original. Well, I'm not sure if I've ever seen a live performance pulled off like that. And so again, thanks to our friends with athletics that helped us do that one.
The band has a very loyal fan base of its own, which is leaving many Penn Staters wondering what's next for the band.
That's a great question. We are literally figuring it out week to week. I'm a dreamer, so I have all these ideas and thoughts. But under these conditions that we're operating now, sometimes getting small things done take a lot more time than anticipated. So really kind of dialing some things back to being realistic. What can we actually do under these conditions, and trying to accomplish those different goals. So I'll be honest, I can't really say what's next. We're literally figuring things out as we go, seeing what opportunities arise, and then trying to capitalize and take advantage of them. So I'm hoping we can do another large presentation, just like we did with the last virtual concert. And that's kind of what we're looking at right now.
And of course, we all have our favorite blue band tunes, but is there anything you can tell us about the new music for this year?
So one of the current shows we're working on right now, I kind of call it, it doesn't really have a title, but in my mind, I call it the Roaring 20s. So we were kind of looking back historically at the 20s and kind of playing a tune from Great Gatsby. We're playing another tune from Chicago. So it's a lot of very jazzy. But we do have one signature tune that I'm sure everybody has heard before, but it could be one of their favorites, and that's Sing, Sing, Sing. So those are the next couple of tunes that we're hoping to present in addition to more of the Penn State favorites that everyone loves to hear.
Well, we certainly look forward to hearing it soon. Dr. Drain, thank you so much for joining us on the show and taking the time to give our viewers a glimpse of what is going on with the Blue Band this year. It's clear how much effort you and your staff have put into this organization, and it is very much appreciated.
Thank you so much.
And coming up, we'll bring the latest in national news.
The United States is currently bracing a third coronavirus peak as the country reached a record number of daily coronavirus cases on Friday. Data from Johns Hopkins University says there were over 83,000 new coronavirus cases on Friday and Saturday. There were also 943 related deaths on Friday. The United States has reported over 8 million coronavirus cases since the start of the pandemic, including 74,323 cases on Monday.
President Donald Trump and former Vice President Joe Biden met for their second and final debate as the election day is approaching. The Commission of Presidential Debates imposed new rules, including muting a candidate's microphone when it was not their turn to speak. Moderator Kristen Welker of NBC News kept the conversation moving and gave both candidates a chance to respond to each other's comments. Recent polls show that the debate did not have a huge impact in closing the election. Around 40 million Americans have already voted so far.
Amy Coney Barrett will be the new Supreme Court Justice following the late Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. The Senate voted the Republican justice in yesterday night with a vote of 52 to 48. Barrett was sworn in on Monday night and was administered the judicial oath this morning by Justice John Roberts. The conservatives now make up the Supreme Court with a majority of 6-3.
The FDA believes they may have a treatment for COVID-19. The California-based drug from Gilead Sciences is an antiviral remdesivir called Vocke. The drug has been authorized in emergency usage since the spring. It works to cut the recovery time down by 5 days on average. Vocke is currently approved for people hospitalized for coronavirus, and you must be at least 12 years old and weighing at 88 pounds to receive the treatment. President Donald Trump was given the drug when he was ill earlier this month. Gilead charges $2,304 for the typical treatment, which is covered by most health programs in the United States.
And that's all for tonight on PSN News.
Be sure to check us out on Twitter and Facebook at PSN News, on Instagram at Penn State Network News, and to subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/PSN News.
Have a good night and stay safe, Penn State.